A couple videos ago, I showed you how to build this, an always-on camera monitor made from a Raspberry Pi 4 and a cheap 7-inch touchscreen. The premise was simple. Your Echo Show gives you up to 10 minutes of camera feed and then cuts you off. This thing never does. It shows any RTSP camera on your network, all day, every day. Tap to switch cameras. Keep tapping for a 4-camera grid. Press and hold and the screen goes dark while the Pi stays on. Tap again and you're right back where you were. About $80, about 4 watts, no cloud, no subscription. And you built it. Quite a few of you, actually. Emails and comments rolled in with driveways, front doors, pools, chicken coops, 3D printers, and someone watching their sourdough starter. I think most of you liked it just fine as it was. But then the requests started rolling in. After about the 10th, hey, could I do this? It was obvious this project was getting a version 2. So today, camera monitor, version 2. Custom grid layouts for weird cameras, a physical button for people who don't want a touchscreen, camera audio if you want to hear your feeds and not just see them, and my favorite, hook it to a TV and change cameras with the TV's own remote. Best part, if you built V1, this is a drop-in upgrade. And if you don't want any of the new features, you don't have to change a thing in your config. Welcome back to Dad Builds Stuff. In terms of how we got a version 2, we can all blame a viewer named David. David runs Unify cameras, and Unify, like Reolink, makes some genuinely odd cameras. He's got a G6 180, which is a panoramic camera, basically a ribbon of video. He's also got a doorbell camera that streams portrait mode. Not that odd, but something I'd not really accounted for on the grid. He wanted a 3-panel view, the panoramic across the top half of the screen and 2 normalish cameras splitting the bottom, which is a completely reasonable thing to want, and V1 flat out couldn't do that. V1 gave you a 2x2 grid. Take it or leave it. First, in single camera mode, his panoramic camera wasn't showing up properly. It was either going to be the odd aspect ratio or the feed being too large for the Raspberry Pi's video decoder. The fix was to account for either. Second, in the grid, V1 stretched every camera to fit in its box. With normal 16:9 cameras, you'd never notice. With a panoramic or portrait camera, everything looked like a funhouse mirror. David asked for the same behavior as the Windows Fill wallpaper option. Fill the box, keep the proportions, and crop what doesn't fit. I built him a custom version, sent it off, and he confirmed it all worked. Then I looked at the pile of other requests and realized half of them were solved by the same rewrite. That custom build became the core of V2. For those of you not familiar with agile software development methodologies, this project would be a good example. Deliver a build, get feedback, continue to iterate on the product, and keep delivering value at every increment. Fun, huh? So what's new in V2? 4 things, all of them optional, all of them off by default, and all of them controlled from the same onecameras.conf file as before. Number 1. Custom grid layouts. There's a new layout setting, and it works in rows. Layout equals 1,2 means 1 full width panel on top and 2 panels below. That's David's setup. 1,3 gives you 1 wide shot across 3 small ones. 2,2 is the classic quad. Leave it blank and you get exactly what V1 did. Your cameras fill the slots in the order that they're listed in the file. Each camera can also carry options now, on the same line, delimited with a pipe character. The fit option controls how a camera sits in a panel. Fill is the new default and it crops like Windows Fill. Letterbox shows the whole image with black bars and stretches the old V1 behavior if you like the funhouse mirror. And HWDEC equals no is the software decode switch for any camera that doesn't seem to play nice with the Raspberry Pi 4 hardware decoder. Number 2, a physical button. Several of you said some version of, I love this, but I'm mounting it on a high wall or behind glass, or my toddler treats touchscreens like a drum kit. So V2 supports a plain momentary button, the kind you can buy for cheap on Amazon, wired between a GPIO pin and ground. No resistor, no soldering if you use jumper wires. I'll include the link in the description. It does exactly what the touchscreen does. Short press takes you to the next view. Hold it a second and the screen goes off. Press while dark and it wakes up. Set button pin in the config to whichever GPIO you used. Install 1 small package from the worksheet and you're done. You can run button only with no touchscreen at all, which also opens up using any HDMI screen you've got laying around. Number 3, audio. If your cameras have microphones, V2 can play the sound of whatever camera you're looking at. Set audio equals 1, set a volume, and single camera view becomes a listener too. The grid stays silent on purpose because 4 driveways at once sounds like static soup. And if you got one camera pointed somewhere noisy, audio equals no on that camera's line keeps it muted while the others play. Baby monitor people, this one's for you. Number 4, the TV. A bunch of you asked to run this on the big screen, and you always could because the Pi has HDMI. Anpviz doesn't care what it's drawing on. Set screen equals to 1920 by 1080, so the grid math uses the whole panel and you've got a camera wall. But a TV has no touchscreen, and I wasn't going to make you walk over and poke a GPIO button like Bunny the dog. So V2 speaks HDMI CEC. CEC is the protocol that lets devices on an HDMI cable talk to each other, and one of the things that it carries is your remote control presses. Turn on CEC equals 1, install one utility from the worksheet, enable CEC on your TV, and your TV's own remote now drives the monitor. Right down or OK takes you to the next camera. Left or up, previous camera. And the number buttons jump straight to the camera by its position in your config file, with 0 bringing up the grid. Camera 3 is acting up, press 3. That's it. One warning, while CEC is a standard, it's the most brand temperamental thing in home theater. Every manufacturer renames it. On Samsung, it's AnyNet Plus. Bravia Sync on Sony, Simplink on LG, arrows and OK work on basically everything, number buttons work on most. If your TV does something weird, tell me the brand in the comments and we'll build the compatibility list together. As far as upgrading from V1, here's the part I promised up front. If you're running V1, the upgrade is download the new monitor PY over the old one, restart the service. That's the whole thing. Links are in the description, commands are on the worksheet. Your V1 cameras.conf works as is. Every new setting has a default, and every default is off. No button, no audio, no CEC, classic grid. You don't even need to add a single line. There is exactly one difference you might notice, and it's on purpose. The grid now respects aspect ratio by default. V1 stretched cameras to fill their boxes. V2 fills and crops a sliver instead. For normal 16 by 9 cameras on this screen, crop is barely there and things stop looking subtly squished. If you measured your camera angles around the old stretching and want it back, add fit equals stretch to a camera line and V2 behaves exactly like V1. The service file and all the housekeeping from the original video are unchanged. If you're building fresh, follow the V1 video start to finish and just use the V2 files. Everything else there still applies. So that's V2. The same $80 monitor, the same 4 watts, and the same 0 cloud. Now with grids that fit your cameras instead of the other way around, a button for the touchscreen averse, ears if you want them, and a TV mode where the remote you already own does the work. Thanks to David for the push and the testing, and to everyone else who left a request in the comments or an email. This is what I love about projects like this. I ship a thing, you bend it in directions I didn't expect, and it comes back better. Which means, yes, V3 is now your fault too. If there's something you want this monitor to do, comment below. I read all of them and I try to help everyone who gets stuck. If you haven't built one yet, the original video walks you through the whole thing step by step and it's linked below with the worksheet and the parts list. It's still one of the easiest builds on this channel. If this was useful, hit like and subscribe and share it with somebody whose smart display keeps timing out on them. And if you really want to support my work, please hype this video and consider becoming a member. I'm not a big deal, so it's really cheap. And depending on the tier, we can hang out on Discord. Thanks and have a great day. Camera 3 is the driveway. Press 3 if you stop by.